I'm going to start this morning with a question, and you can just holler out the answer. Why climb a mountain? Yeah, so the common classic mountain climber answer, because it's there. But I'm hearing some other reasons, so you can share why. Why climb? This particular mountain is in Colorado. This summit here has what is called the Twin Peaks, and this over here has the Sister Peak, and I almost wonder if that's not someone standing up there. Now, it does look like you could go up the rock face here if you had the right equipment. That's one way of mountain climbing. Wouldn't be preferable to me, but thankfully this mountain also has a trail to the top. I like to hike, so I would enjoy this climb, but it's not for everybody. There are people who would say, wow, that's too far up. It's too steep, right? There's certain places I would look over and realize it's too far down. There's loose rock here. I'm just happy to stand out here, take some pictures of the pretty scenery. Here's a selfie, here's me in the mountain, we move on. But I would climb this mountain. If you ask me why I would climb this mountain, in my mind, I can't separate the climb from this. This is part of the reason I would climb. And yet, this is hard to explain, right? If you have not experienced this, it's hard for me to help you see why this climb would be worth it. I would kind of have to say, trust me, it's worth it, and then take you here. Really, there's a lot of things in life like this. To the uninitiated, to the inexperienced, these things don't seem worth the effort, which could be true of classical music. I live near Nashville, and we like to go hear the Nashville Symphony. It's a world-class symphony. And they draw a lot of people, actually, into the Symphony Center because it's Music City, because people want to hear different kinds of music. And many of these people are uninitiated. We know this by different things that have been shared as we go to the different talks and so forth, that a lot of people show up in the Symphony Center and this is their first experience of a classical music concert. And that's wonderful, because we got to pay the bills and because we want people to discover classical music. But I do think that people get in there and they get seated, get a little comfortable, lights are down, conductor's out, and they might wonder what they got themselves into when they hear those first notes of the first movement of what looks to be a long piece begin. But if people will be attentive and be open to the experience, then when they get to the fourth movement, where this main theme that I showed you yesterday has developed, they're going to experience this. So I feel like yesterday we were standing at the trailhead of this mountain called First John. And I shared with you a bit about the author, the elder, shared a bit about the structure. But I do believe that sometimes when we approach Scripture in this very necessary way, people might be saying, oh wow, okay, nap time, right? How long's chapel? What if I could take you up here? I think First John allows for this. I think First John might encourage us to focus in on a couple of key things or a couple key verses that I'm going to say are the summits of the book. So yesterday I told you there were two main parts of the body of the text, right? One begins in 1 John 1:5. This is the message. And then there's another, this is the message in 3:11. There are these two overarching messages into which these other themes we're going to talk about play. So today, I want to take you to the crux of these messages. And the reason this is appropriate is because both of them tell us who God is. And we're going to discover that everything else that John tells us about the life of the believer and the life of the community of faith is wrapped up in who God is. So the first one of these is found in that same introductory verse to this section. And this verse tells us that this is the message, right, that we proclaim to you, that God is light. God is light. In other words, God is completely holy. God is completely righteous. God is all good. And there's more that we can say about light. The second one is actually kind of a twin peak, like the picture that we saw. I'm going to take you to 1 John 4, beginning in verse 7. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is from God, and whoever loves has been born of God and knows God. Verse 8, anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love. Then I'm going to skip down here a few verses to verse 15. So we have come to know and to believe the love that God has for us. God is love, and whoever abides in love abides in God, and God abides in them. God is light, God is love. And that second one is sort of a twin peak, as I told you, so I'll update my picture here just a little bit. And let's talk about these revelations, or this revelation of God. What does this mean? Well, something very exciting I want to tell you is that both light and love in these sentences serve as predicate nominatives. Are you excited about that? Yes! I'm excited. Oh, Mom, I just want to tell you about Chehi. I got this wonderful counselor. I'm meeting new friends. Orchestra has started out great, and this chapel speaker is telling us about predicate nominatives. Oh! Yeah, well, there's a couple exciting things, so give me a chance here, okay? These are predicate nominatives. What is a predicate nominative or predicate noun? A predicate noun actually renames the subject of the sentence, right? So in this case, God is the subject in each sentence, right? And light helps us understand who God is. Love helps us understand who God is. So, it's kind of like if we said, Mr. Bergen is boss, right? Each are noun, but boss is definitive of Mr. Bergen. Okay, so why is this important? Let me show you something really quickly before I delve back into the predicate nominative pieces. Let me just also show you this. God is. God is light. God is love. Both contain this subject and verb, God is.